All right, picking up where we left off, here's the start of video number 2. And what you need to realize here is that sometimes pricing products too low can reduce company profits. It tends to happen for 2 reasons, as you can see here. The company is attempting to buy market share through aggressive pricing. Okay, more sales, increased market share, and managers have a tendency to make decisions that can be justified objectively. So as a result of that, pricing decisions are made based on current costs, projected short-term gains, or potentially current competitive prices rather than on that long-term profitability. The goal is to always keep your eyes on the long-term goal, not just a short-term goal or where the competition currently is short-term as well. The most common methods of geographic pricing are just described right here on this slide. Again, I'm not going to sit here and just read them to you, but I would definitely be aware of the 5 different common methods of geographic pricing that are listed here. Other pricing tactics are unique and they defy being able to be categorized neatly. So managers use these tactics to stimulate demand for specific products. They could use some of these tactics to increase store patronage, getting people into the store and buying their products, and also to offer a wider variety of merchandise at a specific price point. Okay, so you can see a number of the examples that are here. Again, have an idea of some of these and what they are, and maybe able to explain some of those as well. Now, more businesses are adopting consumer penalties, which in essence are just extra fees that are paid by consumers for violating the terms of some sort of a purchase agreement. This is just another way for companies to try to make sure that they are getting their guaranteed money or the guaranteed profits, even if consumers do not hold up their end of an agreement. Oh, here we go. Okay. Product line pricing. This is where the manager tries to achieve the maximum profits for an entire product line rather than just for one single component within that product line. So the focus is not on an individual product, but more so maximizing profits for the entire product line instead. Now, when you're setting product line prices, as a manager, one of your first things that you have to do is to determine the relationship among the products in the product line. Right? Complementary simply means an increase in the sale of one of the goods in the product line causes an increase in demand for a complementary product in that product line as well. Second one are substitutes, and 2 products in a product line can be substitutes for each other. If buyers buy one item in the product line, that means then that they are going to be less likely to buy a second item in that product line because it is considered a substitute. The third one being neutral. A neutral relationship can exist between 2 products, which just simply means that demand for one of the products has absolutely no impact on demand for the other product. Okay, be aware of the different relationships that are available within product line pricing. Okay, joint costs. With this one, just know that if costs are shared in the manufacturing or in the marketing of several products in a product line, it becomes more difficult to do product pricing. Sometimes what companies will do is try to assign joint costs. Like, for example, they could base the costs on a weight basis. It could be based upon market value. It could be based upon quantity sold. rather than just an individual product cost. Okay, now we're going to talk about pricing strategies during inflation and during recession. Now, if you remember, inflation is where the value of money is going down. Okay, the dollar is no longer worth what it was previously. So, when the economy is characterized by high inflation, usually special pricing tactics are necessary. Okay, and you'll see here the two different pricing tactics that are used. Definitely be aware of these. Okay, so cost-oriented tactics. One common cost-oriented tactic is taking products with a low profit margin. This tactic might backfire for 3 reasons, which are listed right here on the slide. If you're pulling products with a low profit margin, it doesn't mean that you're not making a lot of money off of those products. The first bullet is a big part of that, because if you are selling a lot of that product, even if the profit margin is lower, you could still make a lot of money off of that particular product. And one of the benefits of doing that is covered in the second bullet there, which is economies of scale. Okay, if you eliminate those products that you're producing a lot of, the cost per product that you have to produce or manufacture them goes up substantially. Cost-oriented tactics include delay quotation pricing, which is often used for industrial installations. Price is not set in this case until the item is either finished or it is delivered. The book uses examples of companies that build very, very large things: ships, airplanes, airports, office buildings. I think they even use like nuclear power plants as an example for this. So think about large things. Now, escalator pricing, it's similar, but the difference is in that the final selling price reflects all the cost increases that happened between the time the order is placed and the time that delivery is made. So if there are price increases, you're not just quoted a specific price. The price can change during the production of the product. Cost-oriented tactics, this is just a vicious cycle here. Now, if you start where it says price increase, so a price increase is going to result in demand going down. Think about the law of supply and demand, the law of the demand specifically. The higher the price, the lower the demand for that product. So as a price increase happens, the result of that is that demand is going to go down. When demand goes down, it increases production costs, because if there's not as much demand, you're not going to make as much of that product. That right there is lost economies of scale. So as production costs increase, you then have to increase your price to cover those increased production costs. Well, when you increase price again, demand is going to go down farther, which is going to increase production costs even more, which is that vicious cycle that goes round and round. Demand-oriented tactics. This is where you use price to reflect changing patterns of demand, which are usually caused by either inflation or high interest rates. Often price shading becomes a habit and is done routinely without much forethought whatsoever. It's just more of a reactionary thing. Demand-oriented tactics. In order to make demand for a good or a service more inelastic and to create buyer dependency on that particular product, a company can use the strategies that you see here on this slide to try to encourage that. Cultivate selected demand is just simply where you are targeting prosperous customers who are going to be paying extra for convenience. Creating unique offerings. This one here is based upon research. So you're studying the buyer's needs and wants, and by doing that, you as a seller can design really distinctive products to fit their needs and to fit their wants. And then that can help to establish a beneficial relationship. The third one, change the package design. A lot of times companies pass on their higher production costs by shrinking the product sizes and to keep prices the same. That's a sneaky way of being able to raise prices without people realizing you're actually raising prices. Heighten buyer dependence is where you provide some additional value added services and potentially training with product offerings to freeze out the competition and to help support your higher prices. Effective pricing tactics that happen during a recession are value-based pricing and bundling. Value-based pricing, this is where you are stressing to the customers that they are getting a good value for their money. Bundling or unbundling of features, it could be or services, within a product. It gives the perception, that's the key there, the perception of higher value. Okay, bundling can be demonstrated in an example of like vacation packages. So the vacation package could include your airfare, your lodging, your meals, tickets to events, and you get all of that for one price instead of having to go out and buy them all individually. In a recession also, prices often fall so that companies can maintain demand for their products. Falling prices are an incentive to lower costs, since falling prices means lower profits, sometimes no profits for the company. Suppliers can be an excellent source of cost savings for companies. Some ways that companies can use cost saving strategies with suppliers are listed right here on this slide. They could renegotiate their contracts, which in essence is a way of demanding lower prices, or they could rebid their contracts out and try to get different suppliers. Offering help just simply means that they are willing to help suppliers with reorganization to help increase their productivity. Keeping the pressure on is just setting annual across-the-board cost reduction targets. Okay, trying to find ways to reduce costs all across the board, rather than just focusing on one area or another. And then paring down suppliers is just reducing the number of suppliers. Try to boost the purchases that you have from certain people and just reduce the total number of suppliers overall. Brings us to two videos which I am encouraging you to watch as well. This is the end of chapter 21 and the end of the last video for this class. Please, please, please be reading, studying for your unit exam. You have to take the online portion by Monday night, and then you'll have the written portion in class on Tuesday, and your marketing plans need to be uploaded by Tuesday night. If you have any questions, just make sure you let me know.